I'm WG. There's two major things that stop you from progressing, and those are experience and affinity. So let's talk about all the ways you can get yourself experience and affinity, especially with affinity being particularly annoying because of the fact that you need it for the growth guide and you need to go to level 5, level 7 and the like. So this should be a affinity trick which can be used infinitely. It does cost you a small amount of gems past using it 3 times a day. So what am I talking about? You can go into a chaos run and break a character's mind. Now, from a moral standpoint, this is absolutely disturbing, but it's just a game, right? So depending on how capped and how frustrated you are with Affinity, you might find it more or less useful. And that is, you can go into a chaos run, you can break a character's mind, and then they get sent to the Epione Center. If they get sent to the Epione Center and you perform counseling on them, you increase that character's affinity. Now, you might be like, oh, but what do I do? I only have 3 attempts a day, right? See, that's the thing. Excursions, where you gain affinity and you go on like a date or an excursion with the character, those can't be bought with gems. Those can't be refreshed. You only have 3 of those a day. But for counseling, whenever you have something active, you can pay a small amount of gems to do another counseling session. So that means when it comes to the affinity gain and the usage of your daily 3x currency, you should prioritize doing Arc City, so these ones here, over the Epione Center, because you can buy the entries into the Epione Center with gems, whereas you cannot go on an extra incursion with a character, as you can see right here. So that is how you can gain affinity to a degree infinitely, because you can just continue to break a character's mind. Next up, we have obviously Arc City itself, right? If you find your character in here, you can click through all the 4 areas. If you find your character right here, you go with them on an incursion and they get a big chunk of, a big chunk of affinity. See, sometimes your character might not be here, and that is because you don't have all the highest reachers leverage. It's to a degree, past a certain point, you have so many units that not all of them are going to be at Arc City at the same time, unless you further research these different places right here. It is what it is. It's a bit annoying sometimes when you're looking to push that main guy to that next affinity level, but it just happens to happen. Next up, you can go on a trip with another character to give him affinity, and at the end of that trip, you can be rewarded a affinity item. That affinity item you can then use to upgrade your main character that you want to upgrade. And then you also have the No Shop. No Shop is then the third and I do believe last way for you to gain affinity, and that is by using these policy tickets instead of on research nodes. You're gonna use it to buy for example buy a exquisite slice of cake, or when you're done with those, a sweet choconilla. So these should be all the available ways in the game right now to gain yourself affinity. And as far as I can tell, the chaos exploit is infinite. So that is affinity. Now let's quickly rattle it off. The experience from a bit obscure to pretty damn obvious. So let's start again in Arc City, the Epione Center, and the event. So if you haven't yet done it, make sure you max out the Haru event. If you're a bit confused on how this works, sometimes you have to finish a path and then you go back into where you had to make a decision to unlock the next path. So that is what you always want to do. You also want to play the event battles, they give experience. And then the next one is the Renoa story. The Renoa story you can unlock with this special security code right here, and that is something you can buy from No Shop as well. Costs you 20, shouldn't be too hard to get. So make sure you then also fully play the Renoa story, that gives you a whole bunch of experience. Next up on the list, you have the this most straightforward one, and that is simulation. So simulation is just where you spend your daily ether, where you spend your stamina. That is where you go. And my recommendation for all of you, what you should be farming at the moment, especially going from level 30 to level 40, is you should be farming promotion materials, because you're going to get to that next level faster than you'll have the time to have these promotion materials ready. And preferably when you unlock that next difficulty by reaching level 40, you already want to be able to upgrade your characters to that next max level instantly. So it's between combatants and partner promotion materials, and then I guess you could say it's to potential, like kind of pre-farming potential. And then also, I don't really think you need growth as much. At the moment, we have so many events going on, so many side paths, so many story sections where we can get these. So I don't think you should focus on growth too much at the moment. And then memory fragments, do the 12 that you need to do for the quest. Don't do any more. Will it be worth it once you get to difficulty 5? Honestly, I don't think so, seeing as how there's how many difficulties? 10, right? There is 10 difficulties. There's 10 difficulties for this level, so I don't think the drop rates of legendary gear on difficulty 5 are going to be that crazy. Obviously, we'll have to see. Obviously, we'll test it, but I guess starting from difficulty 5 is when you can consider farming for these gear pieces. So that's the simulation stuff out of the way. Then another super obvious on the nose one is the story sections. Now you do your story sections and you go through your story, then you do your chapter missions, and something else that's interesting is you can get policies that unlock extra battle missions. So keep a lookout for that. If you see a policy and it says unlock battle mission blah blah blah, make sure you get those because it's extra resources. You see right here, I unlocked B1-1 and B1-2 by getting a certain policy in Arc City. Should be RNG, but at this point, who knows, right? So that is the section right here. And then the last thing it comes down to is just going to be clearing these runs, right? I didn't yet have enough time to do it for every single planet, but if you clear a planet on the highest difficulty, you should retroactively get all the first clear rewards for the lower difficulties. And you do not need to use these tickets. You do not need to use a loot certification ticket to get the first clear reward. So you can get all that experience that is available on Blueport, Twin Star Shadow, City of Mist, wherever you currently are, depending on which difficulty, right? Like you clear 4 difficulty, all of a sudden this would be 1,200 experience, which is quite a lot. And then I guess the last fact about experience, if you're curious, if you want to think about it like this, 20 ether, 20 stamina equals 400 experience. That's the conversion rate, no matter where you spend it on. That is how it goes. So I do believe with this we've covered every single way in the game you can level up, as well as every single way in the game you can increase the character's affinity. And honestly, keep in mind, this is not a race. This is a marathon, right? You're gonna get to those levels eventually. You're gonna get stuck here one way or the other. Maybe you didn't do enough incursions. Maybe you're still working on Affinity 7. Maybe you don't have the resources to upgrade a partner. So it's all not that crucial. You'll get there anyway, but if you wanna get there faster, use what you learned here and enjoy.